This is one of those awful films consisting of too many famous people acting out the plot that has no backbone in the vain hope that their collective fame will patch the holes in the story. I wouldn't wipe my ass with this script. Come on. This is quite boring and really not funny part. It seems Hollywood really tries to make political correctness production, but again it ended tragically. The return of the all-female Ghostbusters. This time in an inept empowerment caper of 8 women criminals attempting to pull off a robbery at the Met Gala. Has more in common with the original 1960s snot-packed film than the other 3, but that is not saying too much. The women preen, and try to look good as eye candy in a comedy that has no laughs, or a thriller that offers no thrills. You can pretty much dial it in a film that is predictable from start to finish. Only James Corden offers some laughs, though not too many as a detective investigating the case. I don't really want to get on a rant, but making a film for the sake of making a movie about women criminals to appease the Me Too and empowerment crowd is just an excuse to further exploit those who are calling for more femme-centric movies. I can understand if the film was attempting to tackle real social issues, but all it is fluff, kind of like an extended TMZ story. A total waste of time and talent, especially from Bullock and Hathaway, who have had better roles. Do yourself a favor. If you really must see it, wait about 3 weeks until it is available at Redbox. The movie isn't horrible, but I would not recommend spending your hard-earned money on it. The first 2/3 of the movie is boring and doesn't capture the charm of the original Ocean reboot series with Clooney. I applaud Hollywood trying the all-female thing, but it didn't work. The majority of the acting wasn't very good, which didn't help the movie. Rihanna can't act, so Hollywood stop trying. Same with Mindy Kaling. This movie really is a poor rehash of the original Ocean 11 with Clooney. I wish Hollywood would get a little more creative than saying movie but with women. In few words, boring, lack of logic, a ood of contradictions, zero humor, zero action. And I didn't like the idea that women are interested only in jewels and how to get them. One of the worst movies I've seen yet. The movie lacked personality, was incredibly boring, and ended way too early. It wasn't funny, unoriginal, and was obviously just a cash grab. Where can I start? This lacked any of the humor or the style of Ocean's 11. It was predictable and awful. The film editing was terrible, some parts of the film didn't need to be there. I liked Sandra Bullock, but her character took all the fun out of the movie. They tried to include a plot twist, but it was obvious. Do not watch. Waste of money and not enjoyable. Ruined a good franchise by hiring bad writers and directors. I think the only question I have regarding this movie and Ghostbusters is why. Why did this even have to be made? Is this a statement to the #medu Hollywood generation of sick people who have to adhere to politically correct ideology? What's next? Are they just going to call Batman Bat because it instills gender stereotypes? If that's going to be the case, then I guess the name Wonder Woman will also just have to be Wonder, or does the attack only refer to the male gender titles? In an insane world where media makes out transgenderism is an epidemic and needs to be addressed, this is probably the only reason that All Girls Smooth as Butter and Slow as Hell Heist is considered a good film, and not because of the content, but because it is an all-woman cast. Zero reservations of women in film. I'd accept any film with the cast of all women. But this is a lazy piece of trash. It's very boring, along with the fact dialogue doesn't flow at all. Just seems like they figured load it up with a bunch of stars, slap the Ocean brand on it, and get ready to take your money. Just a cash grab at its worst. This film is just trying to be politically correct. It just brings the whole real issue down. Avoid this film at all costs. I don't consider myself a fan of the Ocean's franchise, especially having only watched the first film, Ocean's 11, for the first time just hours before seeing Ocean's 8, but I did find it a great film with all the coolness in the world in the dialogue, editing, camera work and performances. That was not Ocean's 8. Take out the slick dialogue and replace it with unfunny jokes and lines that might as well be "Hey, I'm a woman" isn't that quirky. Take out the great camera work and replace it with bland shots with no interesting positions or targets of focus. Take out the cheesy but pleasing editing and replace it with the same style, but now used so often in the movie that it has been boiled down to just cheesy. Take out the intriguing performances that gave the characters decent motives for such a terrible scheme, and replace them with bored actors whose characters are just bad without a hint of good. You will now have Ocean's 8. I find it rather funny that limiting the main cast hasn't made them easier to remember. In fact, I could name over half the original gang from 11, while the one name I remember from 8 is Debbie, only because I found that having another D Ocean as the lead was a stupid way of connecting it to the original trilogy. Remember how the boys robbed casinos in Ocean's 11? Well, now they're girls, so they have to steal a necklace. Girls and jewelry go together like boys and casinos, I guess. And the woman who is supposed to be their enemy randomly joins their team with one of the worst motives I've ever seen in a movie. The motive in question is that she is lonely, and so steals the necklace from herself. I swear I lost half my brain cells from that alone. Ocean's 8 is, so far, one of the worst movies of 2018, with its bashing of a perfectly good movie franchise.